but thanks for listening. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Squirters? Suns fan here with Cinderin. This is We Say Things, episode 248.
Excuse me?
Cinderin, how are you?
Better before you said that.
Before I said what? What's the problem? You have an issue?
Nothing. It's just weird, but it's okay.
It's a new thing I'm trying. I'm hoping that people will
resonate with that.
Well, at first there's going to be some pushback, as there always is with memes, but the thing I've learned is you just keep beating a dead horse, and eventually my dream is to go down the street and just hear some kid in high school saying, "Hey, what's up, Squirters?" Like that's the dream. Then I'll know I've had
your dream.
Yeah, because I know that I will have had an impact on the world, regardless of how stupid it is. I'll know that was me, Squirters. So
negative impact.
An impact nonetheless. So, thank you to our beautiful patrons of the In Bruges tier. Thank you to Dodgers in 5, baseball fan apparently. Amish Toaster, Radon Fails Again, Suns fan. No Matter Than a Hatter, Crownfall Enjoyer, Bird Samurais Aren't Real, Captain Broccoli, Suns Nugget Boy STGC Daniel, Mr. I Love the NBA segment, the episode where Bronny retires at the same time as LeBron. It's looking like that might be the case. Pepper Balls and T Coil.
And Yatoro Does It Again, Cinderin. This is starting to be a relic name now. He isn't even called that anymore. Vlad, Let's Have Puppy on the Podcast, Disco Farm D, The Megapope, Shark TM, Janie, Dop, Wooden Aftertaste, Anonymous, and male seahorses are the only animals that carry and give birth to babies. Mr. Niebling.
Wow, that is something. That is weird. Why is it always the creatures in the sea are the weirdest, Cinderin? Did you find that interesting? Other than you, of course.
What do the female seahorses do?
Maybe there are no females.
Oh. An entire population of gay seahorses is all we have. That's amazing.
Well, there are some...
I want that to be true.
Wait, what is that? There's a creature that's asexual and it just reproduces on its own. I don't know I forget what it's called, but...
So what Mr. Niebling is saying is that both male and female seahorses can carry babies.
I don't know.
That's sick. That's the ultimate equality.
Yep, there you go. One day we'll get there. You have an announcement, Cinderin.
I do?
You added it, didn't you?
No. This is from last week.
All right. You guys can buy merch at merch.sunsfan.gg. I don't remember talking about this horsehead shirt. Did we?
I think we did last week, didn't we? Yeah, I think I added it last time.
All right. Well, you guys can still buy the horsehead t-shirt.
I'm pretty sure we had this one last episode. I mean, it's like 2.5 weeks ago.
We should be talking about this every week. Anyway, look at this. Oh, I actually remember having this comment too. The pink looks really good. Unironically, I would actually wear that. Yeah, merch.sunsfan.gg. Support your horse heads here today. Thank you, everybody. They're good quality.
Yep.
Great quality.
As always, we're looking for feedback
too.
So drop your feedback on the episode or write it to us on Discord or something, whether you like the stuff you got, what stuff you want, because we can obviously... We want to make more stuff, but we want it to be good and we want it to make sense. But so far, there's been quite a lot of people getting stuff, so thank you. Hope you like your shit.
And on to the big tournament post-TI, getting all the rave reviews as Cinderin cheats on his current co-caster with a new co-caster who will also be a guest on this podcast eventually, because that's the most cursed fucking guest episode ever. We've tried to schedule it 5 different times now. But you were at PGL Wallachia, Cinderin.
Yep.
You're going to do a lot of talking here.
I mean, I'll try to keep it relatively short, but this tournament was really good. So TI got a lot of criticism for all its 2-0s and for pretty, short or predictable games after 15 minutes into them. This tournament was really different, and I'm not completely sure why. Obviously, we had a small patch, but I don't know how much to attribute it to the quality of teams and to the patch shaking things up, but this was a Tier 2 event. That doesn't mean that every team that was there was Tier 2. There were some Tier 1 teams, but a lot of the teams that were here were not present at TI. And the roster of teams, we didn't do predictions for this one, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure we did not.
I definitely would have chosen Heroic, though, if we could go back.
Yep. So the roster of teams was Tundra with 2 stand-ins, Mouse, Alliance, Na'Vi with 2 stand-ins, I think, Falcons, Enigma Galaxy, IG, Nouns, Heroic, Beast Coast, Infinity, Avulus, Liga Team, Azure, Apex Genesis, and Team Waska. So this was Alliance's first LAN with their new roster. It's been a while since Alliance has been on a LAN. So first we had a Swiss with the 16 teams, and that means 8 teams advance and 8 teams get knocked out. I guess the main stories here were Alliance barely didn't make it. They went 2-3 after being 2-1. And Nouns barely scraped by after being 1-2. They clutched it out and got 3-2. And then Infinity started 0-2, and so did Beast Coast. And then they both went 3-2. So 2 South American teams made top 8, or rather 3 did. Heroic just 3-0'd, so that was pretty easy. But Beast Coast and Infinity just, yeah, it was kind of interesting to see how they turned it around after the first 2 days. People had high hopes for Enigma. They went 1-3, so they didn't make it once again. But I will say this roster is looking more promising than the last iteration they had. They had a def loss against Falcons because they had players in the airport. There was a flight that was delayed by like a day or something, so they couldn't make it in time.
You're kidding. Wow. I didn't know that.
So they lost their first series against Falcons without playing it. And ironically, Falcons also only had 4 players because Ammar was stuck in the airport with them. But Falcons could field AUI as their coach. So they had 5 players, and Enigma did not. So they lost by default. Then Enigma beat Beast Coast, and then they lost their last 2 series 1-2. So it wasn't like they got absolutely just ran over. And they arguably could have definitely made it. So it was pretty close. Yeah, all right, let's go to the bracket. I guess I'll just go over the main stories. So Heroic were, together with Falcons, the favorites for this tournament. And Falcons, obviously, the team to beat because they've had many top 3 finishes this year in Tier 1 events. And everybody expected Falcons to do very well here and probably win. And they also didn't lose a series until the grand finals, where Heroic... This series was long. Falcons started out winning a marathon game. I think this might have been the second longest game of the tournament or something, 74 minutes. And then Heroic won the following 3 in an average time of about 50. So, very, very long games compared to TI. Way more exciting in terms of who's going to win, how they're going to do it, itemization, hero picks. There were still too many heroes that are unpicked, but I think it will get better. And we obviously had some of the really major outliers of TI get pretty nerfed before this tournament. So, third place went to Tundra with their stand-ins. They still got third, which I think is very admirable. This is obviously a very new Tundra. As we've talked about on previous episodes, it's now 33 in Sox's team with Whitemon. And they had Shad and Midone as stand-ins for Sonneiko or Nightfall and Laurenov, who are meant to play on Tundra. But they were not able to participate. So, and it was Shad's first LAN, and I think he did very well. I've believed in that guy for years, and I think it's a shame he hasn't landed on a Tier 1 team, but he had some, I believe, health issues a couple of years ago that held him up. But maybe he'll make a strong comeback now to actually, or a breakthrough, I guess you should say. He used to play carry for Viking GG. Na'Vi got fourth. And obviously they were a big story because they had Puppy as stand-in, so that was very nostalgic for a lot of people, that Puppy was playing for Na'Vi, and playing against Alliance with Loda as coach. They also faced off in the tournament, so that was kind of cool. So yeah, that's it. Heroic won. This is the first international tournament that a South American team has ever won in Dota 2 after 12 years. So, no, wait, 13 years.
Did they not win a Dota Pit South America at one point? Am I crazy?
I don't think so. I think if I remember correctly, they've been in 2 finals before, but this is the first time they win. So that is obviously the biggest story out of all of this. They were super proud. They were really, really happy in the post-game interview when they were lifting the trophy. And the MVP of the tournament, Parker, the carry for Heroic, played an insane event. I think this is like on par with, I want to say this is on par for me with peak Pakaz, where he had a couple of lands where I was just like, holy shit, this guy's the next thing. Like, he played super, super well. And the team as a whole played great. So it was awesome. I think it was arguably the best possible result for the fans and for Dota, that they beat Falcons. So they overcame the Giants in the finals. So that was very cool.
So how much of this do you attribute to not Heroic winning, but the tournament being more exciting? You talked about the patch. It was a letter patch. It's not like it's going to change that much. Right. You have a bunch of rosters that are, some of them have shuffled, some of them have stand-ins. Also a bunch of teams, namely the Liquids of the world, the Gaming Gladiators, the Spirits, not in here. Why is it? Would you say the play style did it feel different in general?
It was, on average, compared to TI, less well executed. So I guess what that means is, even in cases of like an outdraft or one team getting ahead, it didn't feel as deterministic. And the average game was also just longer, but I think largely that's because teams are not as good at ending games when they're ahead as they were at TI, but also because, aura items had been nerfed. Some of the major stupid heroes like Lone Druid's Facet has been nerfed, etc. I don't even actually know if Lone Druid was even picked all tournament. So it's like a mix, I think. This was a pretty... So, the game quality was really good. I will say, in terms of, for me personally, casting, this was a bit of a marathon, because I came in, as you know, when we did our last podcast episode, I had been really sick for 2 weeks. And then I went to this event, and I still had my lingering cough. And I still do a little bit, but it's finally starting to wear off, I think.
God, you are weak, Cinderin. Go ahead.
Sometimes I just looked it up. I was like, is this normal? And it said, when you have pneumonia, it's normal to cough for another month. So
wait, did you officially had pneumonia? Did we talk about this?
I'm pretty sure we talked about it. I mean, that's what both I and my doctor thought it was viral
Chad,
pneumonia.
Did he talk about this last time? I feel like am I that fucking old that I don't remember this? Because pneumonia is a big deal.
I genuinely don't remember the last episode.
Okay.
This is the second thing from the last episode that you don't remember. Do we have merch? Did you have pneumonia? Yeah,
back to the merch, everybody. You can go to merch.sunsfan.gg. You can get some great horses on your products here. Okay, go ahead.
So, I guess what I was getting at was, you and I, when we cast TI, we had a lot of 2-0s. Everybody did. So the days were, in terms of work and just general duration, were pretty short. If I remember correctly, this event, I think Lyrical and I cast 17 series, of which 16 were best of threes, and then we cast the finals. And 14 out of 16 of the best of threes went 3 games.
That's
and
a
then
lot.
The finals was 4 games. So we cast the maximum -3 games, I think, of what we could have.
I mean, that's basically 14 hours of extra work, if you think about it, right?
I suppose, yeah, if you want to think of it that way.
TI was super easy. Really boring, but it was easy.
A few days in, I was a little bit worried, because I was I felt like I was wearing my throat down, but it recovered, so it was good. But there was a lot of mute button usage.
That's good.
But it worked out. So Lyrical also had a little bit of a cough at some point. I'm not sure what that was, but it was...
you probably infected him with your disease.
Probably. It wasn't me. He came with it, I think. But yeah, nice tournament overall. And I think the interesting thing about a tournament like this is it begs the question, does every tournament have to have strictly tier 1 teams, or can you have a mixed bag, right?
Yeah.
Because what a lot of TOs go for is getting all the biggest names, but what if you have a tournament with like 4 favorites and then the rest is like tier 2 teams? Does that make it better or a worse tournament? I think the viewership on this was actually really good, because as long as there's some of the big names there that people will auto tune in for, and then the rest of the story is good. It's also about getting the orgs, right? They got Na'Vi, they got Alliance. Despite, not having star teams anymore, those are still names that people want to watch. Nigma. So this was, I think, just interesting to see this kind of recipe for a tournament and what it can be. Thought it was very good and very entertaining. So
yeah, I think it's
that's
RNG. It's just RNG. I mean, if Liquid and Game were at this tournament, do you think they would have steamrolled and it would have been really boring games for the series that they were participating in?
I definitely think some of their series would have been more lopsided, and of course a couple of the teams that made it through the Swiss and made exciting games later down the line would have probably been knocked out, right? So it's kind of hard to say. But yeah, maybe it would have been closer than we think as well. Maybe it's just a good patch. Maybe the teams, both Liquid and Gaming, would have taken a break after TI. Maybe they wouldn't have been on form, etc.
Since we have plenty of time to talk this episode, meaning there's not many Dota topics, anything else from Wallachia? Is it Wallachia? How do you say it?
Wallachia.
Wallachia?
Wallachia.
Did you do anything while you were there? Or you just were in the hotel?
Well, we went to Therme once, which is...
What is that?
Talent's favorite activity to do in Bucharest. It's like, how to say... It's like this enormous pool / spa / sauna.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Outdoor pool with bars inside. So you're literally in the pools and there's just bars around. So you just get drinks.
That's nice.
Hang out, relax. It's
great.
like just complete relaxation. The one time we were there, I went to 3 different saunas, and then this is a pretty standard thing, I think, for places like that, but the saunas have events. So I think every half hour, every hour, you can go in there, or you can go in there at any time. But during those events, there's someone there burning incense and then spreading the hot air and the like scents around the room with a towel. You know this thing, right?
Yep.
They're like waving it around. Yeah.
That's my kind of jam right there. Wow, that's great.
I did not. So we went to 3 different saunas when I was there, there was a 65-degree one, a 75, and a 90. The 90 one, we did not do an event in.
C2F. One moment. All right, go ahead. Wait, no.
All right, so 90 Celsius is...
No, hold on. It took me to Bing for some reason, which is garbage. C2F. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so 90
Celsius.
Yeah.
Is 194 Fahrenheit. What is boiling?
Yeah.
It's 200 something, isn't it? Fuck me.
It's 100 Celsius.
No, boiling for Fahrenheit, I mean. It's like, okay.
212.
This is close. Okay, 90, and then what else?
75.
Okay. This really hot.
And 65 was the lower one, I believe. And, well, in the 90-degree sauna one, I was not there during an event. The 75 during an event was kind of where I felt like, okay, this is very hot. It is slightly uncomfortable. And if I go higher than this, I will not feel great, I think. But I was in the 91 without an event, and it was okay. It's just really fucking hot, right? But yeah.
Yeah, I think spending
I've been
too
there
much.
A couple of times.
Was it a dry heat, or was it like the humid type of sauna?
I mean, it's definitely.
I guess I'm describing the difference between a sauna and a steam room, right?
Yeah.
Steam room is humid.
Exactly an expert. I will say it was probably more on the drier side.
I love saunas. I think.
But then when they're burning the stuff during the events, obviously that creates humidity, right?
It's probably best I wasn't there, Syndarin. The last time I was in a sauna.
Yeah, I remember this.
I revealed my testicles to not only Jenkins, but also Sheep on 2 different occasions. And then also one time I stayed too long in the sauna and I was feeling it, so I left. And then I went to bed, woke up halfway through the night and just shat I went to the toilet, of course, but I just had horrible diarrhea. Just everything exploded out of me because of the sauna, because I stayed too long. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is very crazy. It's Better story than mine, for sure.
That sounds great, though.
So
That
that
sounds
was
really
the
nice.
main thing we did. We try to do this every time there's an event in Bucharest. It's become like a standard. I've been there a couple of times before. But yeah, we unfortunately this time we only got to go the once, which was on rehearsal day because the rehearsals were pretty short, so we were done in the early afternoon.
Mm.
But this event had no break days, so it was just 10 straight days of games. And when we had a day where we were like, oh, this is a 3 series day, maybe it's fast. Like I said, everything was fucking 3 games. So we were never done early enough to go back, even though it was in the plans to go a second time for some of us. But yeah, didn't work out.
And
yeah,
what was it, since, again, we have time, what was it like working with Richard Lewis? Because I don't think I've ever met him before. And I know he's very polarizing in Dota because of the Loda incident, which has it's been so many years. I don't even remember what the fuck. It was just like they choked each other or something.
I think it was back in 2014 or something.
It's been a hot minute. But yeah, he from the times that I turned on, most of the time when I had the stream, I was on the background, but I would listen to the panel occasionally, and I thought he did a really good job. But yeah, what was it like working with him?
I mean, he's obviously a really experienced host, and I think he said that Dota is the game he has played the most, even over Counter-Strike.
No kidding.
If I remember correctly. So the only other Dota event that he's worked that I know of was the one in Las Vegas, which was in 2018 or something that I played at.
Yeah, I remember that
I think it was one of the last tournaments I played. So he worked that one and then nothing else. But yeah, PGL hit him up for this. As far as I can tell, and from the experience that I had, both, I mean, I can't say on and on. I guess I can say on broadcast because I was obviously only casting, but we had a couple of handovers where there was a little bit of talk between the panel and us. I think, like you said, I think he did a good job. I think people were doing well with him on panel and off panel. There was, considering how polarizing he is, there was no drama at all, and he obviously. He likes to talk, and he had some stories, both good and bad, of like CS and of the past and he like explained like his side of the story of what happened with Loda, etc. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but essentially, yeah, there was honestly just a good time. Like there was absolutely no shit, and I think. Based on my experience, I would say that the way he presents himself on social media and the way he is in person is kind of similar to how a lot of people are absolute toxic shitheads in Dota, and then when you meet them in real life, they're actually kind of cool, you know, and okay. So yeah, that's I don't know why exactly. I also think he's probably the impression I got was that he has learned over the years from mistakes he has made, and he's owned up to some of them, of what he's done. But yeah, I think the very big part of why he is so polarizing is just Twitter, more so than anything he's done professionally. I think he's more polarizing because of the way he posts compared to anything he's done in interviews or in his journalism or in his esports hosting. I think his work itself, I don't consider to be as polarizing, if that makes sense.
No, yeah. I mean, he's one of he's like literally the only esports journalist I can name, probably, right? That's got to mean something. And I think maybe some of it has to do with a lot of the talent work he's done in the past was Counter-Strike, and I know just from hearing from people that the talent in Counter-Strike, I can't speak for the current talent in Counter-Strike, but at least the old talent in Counter-Strike versus Dota, drastically different vibes, right? Like
he was telling a very similar story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's not a big surprise.
Yeah, so
interesting.
But it's true. I mean, it's always whenever people tell stories, they have a tendency to lay it on thick and whatnot. But it's also, I don't know. It's possible, like you said, that things either have or are changing in CS as well with like the whole polarization aspect, but definitely it sounds like what we have in our Dota talent group compared to other games in general. I'm not going to call it unique, but I would say it's definitely some of the best vibes among talent. That it's like a competitive field because ultimately there's only so many slots at events and not everybody gets to go, but in terms of like how well we do with each other at events, how people hang out, how we talk to each other, how the green room vibes are. It never gets heated. It's never like really uncomfortable or anything. So
yeah, overall, I think Dota Town are just chill. Probably because everybody's
exactly. I
a
think chill is a
fucking
good word
mega
for it.
nerd. It's like a requirement. Fucking
guess so.
losers.
Hell yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's why I fit in so well. Okay, cool. So from PGL to basically no news. Crownfall Act 4. When the fuck is this coming out, man? I was asking my chat earlier because I remembered something and I wanted to run it by them because I didn't know if it was like one of those revisionist history thing, but they confirmed it with me that originally, like when they came out with Crownfall, it had Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. Act 4 at some point at least said like it was going to be before TI, like in August or something like that, right?
It's before next TI.
We are mid-October. What's happening, Cinderin? What the hell? Is everybody working on Deadlock? Is that what's going on?
That would genuinely be my guess. That this was an original roadmap they made at the beginning of the year, and then Deadlock really picked up, and they pulled more people on deck. My impression from the CEST subreddit as well is also wear patch, you know? So I think Valve are pulling quite a lot of people there.
Don't get me started with Counter-Strike. I could go on another 20-minute rant. That one, I think... So here, okay, I'll try to TLDR this without getting really angry about Counter-Strike.
All right, good luck.
Counter-Strike, they come out with this brand new version that everybody's been waiting for, CS2. It's in beta for a short period, then officially released. We are past the year point now. It's been over a year since that happened. They still have not fixed the cheater situation. They still have not made subtick remotely, like, gotta hold back a bit. Still no 128 tick. There's a bunch of major issues that they're just not addressing, okay? If I was a talent in Counter-Strike, I would be fucking livid. Dota, I don't feel that way. Like, I'm waiting for Crownfall Act 4. I understand that it's been delayed for whatever reason. Maybe it is the deadlock situation. But I feel like they've overall done a really good job this year, so I'm not really that ragey against the Dota team right now. Of course, that could change, Cinderin, if we get any further down the line. But I think Crownfall has been just an incredible... how would you package this? It's not a feature. It feels like it's going to be like this year-long thing, which I'm fine with. To just extend the dates, whatever needs to be done to actually make sure that you can come out with this stuff on a somewhat timely basis. I think the only thing that I don't even blame Valve for, I was actually talking to some people at Valve at TI, is like TI itself and some of the tournaments beforehand, they were really boring. And that's the meta. And we talked about this in the last episode, but because I don't remember any of our conversations, I'm going to rehash it a little bit. When you come out with these big like enormous patches, even if it's a few months before a big tournament, that's still not enough time to know, or not enough time to balance it into a point where you know it's going to be at least interesting to watch or exciting. And as a viewer, as a caster, I'm okay with that gamble because the content is so epic when it comes out. And I feel like, of course, I don't have the stats to back this up. More times than not, it ends up resulting in an exciting tournament, I feel like. But it has felt like the last couple TIs, very boring games. And I'm hoping as the year goes on, I don't even know if Ice Frog is the one working on this game or if he's on Deadlock. Who fucking knows? But whoever is, that they figure out what that formula is to make sure that these big tournaments don't have this. I feel like on average, like we can just focus on auras for now. If those are just on average weak, like if you put it on a balance scale, it needs to be less than the 50% mark. You know what I mean when I say that? Like the threshold?
I guess.
Too good is boring. Always.
Right.
Like never are these games going to be fun to watch. So if anything, make them weak. You know what I mean? If you had to choose one. So err on the side on the weaker side is what I would say.
I think the how to say the best solution to this problem is to throughout the year get exciting tournaments by just throwing a patch a week before any tournament or 2 weeks before any tournament, but make it 2 months before TI. And then the rest of the year, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can just throw them in there in the middle of a tournament, right before it, whatever. In the middle, I'm a little bit on the fence about actually, but in the past, it has been fun and teams haven't complained about it. So if they're just like, this is just the conditions, then
as a caster,
if they don't mind, I don't mind either.
That is the best experiences that I've had is when there's a patch, at least like maybe not in the middle of the tournament because I don't even remember that happening. Like maybe
I think it's happened before.
Maybe like a smaller patch, but like a huge
Wasn't it
patch.
a couple of Dream Leagues ago? Didn't the Facet patch drop in the middle of Dream League?
That wasn't a Dream League I was covering then.
I see. Okay. I think it dropped during the tournament.
Like just in general, as a caster, new shit coming in, everything is chaos. That is the most fun you could possibly have casting a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is so fun to not know what's happening.
Yep, for sure.
But yeah,
and this game needs regular patching to keep it exciting, as always. But putting in, at least if you want to put in a major new system for TI, like facets and facets and innates, then you need to give it 2 months. Would be my like safety benchmark, because there's so much time to gather data from pubs. There's going to be 1 or 2 tournaments in between, and then you can balance based on those. And then TI will probably be in a sweet spot. Because honestly, like I said, the event we just had, I wonder how good TI would have been on this patch. Because I don't know if it's the patch itself, but at least a couple of the really stupid things from TI got nerfed massively, and a lot of the popular things got nerfed at least slightly. And sometimes all it takes is a couple of like 5 to 10% changes across the board, and things feel like fresh and yeah, good again, I suppose.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and again, this is not one of those. I don't think you'll find a talent that's more critical of Valve than me. I'm not even mad at Valve. I think it's good to take chances like this, and I just think it's been mostly bad luck. I had to put a pin on it. Like the last couple TIs have been the meta. This one especially just dreadful, absolutely dreadful meta.
Well, I don't know if I would agree with bad luck, because ultimately you have a lead-in period with a couple of tournaments, and then you see what's developing there, and then if you buff or at least don't nerf auras, and then you introduce like facets and innates that are inherently, and you know this when you put them in the game, are not fair. Like some heroes got new abilities and other heroes got their same abilities. Of course they're going to be worse by comparison, because the other heroes just got more stuff and you got nothing. I feel like you are putting yourself in a position where you're increasing the likelihood by a lot.
Let me rephrase what I was trying to say. So as like if you're trying to balance the game, right? Let's say you come up with a huge patch like 3 months before TI, whatever it is, and you're starting to see a trend that there's something that's really imbalanced. Obviously, you're trying to make the game as balanced as possible. It's not possible to balance this game. Let's just get that out of the way.
I agree.
But you get to a certain point, you see a trend that a certain type of strategy, which is considered boring, is becoming powerful. If anything, over nerf it if it's like before a big tournament. Like if things are not balanced, but it's exciting strategies, who cares? That's great. We've had plenty of TIs like that. It's just the aura strat is so like the defensive shit. Like whether it's turtling, I'm not saying this is this meta, but we've had metas like this in the past, like turtling, where you're or like really early in like Dota 2, where people would just farm and just wait for like one big fight. Very boring. Just trend towards the exciting types of gameplay, even if it's on the imbalanced side. That's what I would say.
You just reminded me of a game at PGL Wallachia that, I don't know. I was casting this with Lyrical. I actually lost my shit. I don't know if you saw the clip.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I'm wondering. I'm trying to imagine you in that game. Like that was. Did you see the game itself, or did you just see the clip?
Just the clip.
Okay,
yeah, give me the rundown.
Picture this. It's Nouns versus Avulus. I think it's game 1. And one side has Sniper and Medusa cores, and the other one has Morphling. And they are literally, both sides are literally just farming for 30 minutes. Then Avulus get Roche. They take 2 lanes without Nouns defending them. And then the third lane, Nouns try to fight, lose, and give up.
They give up after one fight.
Yeah, I mean, they got mega'd, right? They lost 2 lanes of Rax for nothing. And then the third, they try to fight, they lose, and the game's over. I think the game ended like 11-5. I think I've never seen that before.
It's like a League of Legends game.
Yeah, it was bizarre. I was making the comment in the game. It felt like it genuinely looked like OpenAI training against itself. It was like the teams were just non-confrontational. They were just farming. It's like you twisted a knob, said, "Getting gold, good. Hit creeps, give gold." And then the teams were just doing that until, oh yeah, we need to win at some point. So I guess we take Roche and push. It was so weird. I was at one point I was just screaming for Nouns to just do something because they were doing nothing all game.
Yeah, that's
It
crazy.
was really weird. I guess just as a final comment on Crownfall, since that was how we started this whole conversation out. Do you feel like, so you're saying you're happy with it being a year-round event? Do you feel like there's enough content?
Probably not.
Because I think like a ton of Dota players play a lot, and some play very little and play very casually. But I think the one thing this does not have right now is longevity, I suppose. I think when you've done the campaign of a chapter, there isn't really much left to do, right? You just have the candy works.
Yeah.
And there's like the mini games that can be fun to play once in a while, but for most people it is play them through, get to the highest tier of rewards, and then you're probably just playing Dota, right? So perhaps finding something that people can keep interacting with month after month would be...
I feel like that's a little unrealistic. I'm trying to be realistic. So I agree to some extent, but I don't think it should be the goal. Well, maybe it can be the goal, but I don't think they're ever going to reach the goal of having Crownfall actually feel like there's stuff to do constantly the entire year. It's just too much work probably. But I agree, it should be more than this. If it's going to be a year-round thing, then of course it should be 5 acts, every couple 2.5 months or something. I don't know, whatever timeline they want to go with. But yeah, I agree. And I'm sure they could think of something that once you're finished with it, that you can, it's something that you're trying to achieve, even if it's just like some progression related. Because right now you're building up these tokens. They don't do anything. Like I have hundreds of tokens now. They don't do anything anymore. Maybe being able to use those in some capacity.
Exactly.
I don't know. There's probably something
That's what I mean.
Do.
Exactly, because you can just give people a reason to keep playing the chapters, and bonus points if it matters what chapter you pick. Right? So like, I want to try to get this reward. Like maybe it's something along the lines of you can trade in tokens for imagine there's like different Rylai's wheels or something. And each chapter has its own wheel. So whichever chapter you choose, you can like skew the odds in the favor of a specific set or a specific hero that you want something for. Like whatever it is. You could do something like that. Excuse me. I should say as well, this is getting a little bit asynchronous, I know. But I just realized I didn't talk about another talking point of Wallachia. I'm actually surprised you didn't bring this up, which was the drama, because you love the drama.
Oh, right. Yeah, actually,
we didn't talk about
totally
that at all.
All right, we'll make that the next thing then.
So I think the reason neither of us brought it up and that we forgot was that it got resolved in such a bizarre way. So I'll try to TLDR this, as I'm sure most people have heard about.
What link can I find to show? Give me a link.
I don't know.
Give me anything, Cinderin. Did all the Reddit threads get deleted? I feel like that they would have been manually uploaded.
I don't think they did. If you check, just find the one with the picture of KuroKy, Sonneiko, and Ammar.
I don't. Somebody link it, please, in chat.
There is no way that isn't there.
We're gonna hot fix this. We're patching this podcast right now.
Okay, while you find this,
start.
Yeah. So, essentially, the TLDR is months before the tournament in a pub game. Ammar called Sonneiko brain dead. Sonneiko took that very personally and told him that I'm not sure what the exact wording was, but that he will fight him on LAN or something.
Yeah.
And then they get to LAN. And 99.9 times of 100, when people say shit like that in pubs, it's just people being keyboard warriors, right?
Yep.
But Sonneiko actually walked up to him in the hotel lobby and put his arm around him and said, "Do you want to go outside and sort this out?" This is the short version of it. And that he essentially wanted to teach him some manners or something. And this spawned a very dramatic situation because Falcons' players were also there. There were multiple people seeing this happening. And essentially what it boils down to is a threat of violence, right? And you can pretty simply make a binary line you just draw there. It's the ultimate irony that this is the one tournament Richard Lewis shows up to, and that was obviously really fucking funny in itself, that he kind of brought that aura from all those years back. I don't think he's had any other altercations like that one. But that was a very funny coincidence. But anyway, the Falcons players see this. They see him threatening Ammar, and they themselves then threaten to pull out of the tournament because they want to have a zero tolerance policy for this stuff. That if this is allowed and this can even happen, they won't play. So
there, not to interrupt, but there was another side of the story, Sonneiko's version, where he was kindly asking, like there's a picture of him with his arm around Ammar, and maybe he was, talking a lot of shit or something, I don't know, but he was claiming that he was just asking him to apologize or something to that effect, like nothing too nefarious, and that it was the Falcons players that were riling things up, like especially Skeeter, for example. I don't know what's actually true. I'm just saying there was another side to it.
There was some additional stuff with Skitter and Sonneiko meeting each other in the men's bathroom as well, or something. You can write fanfic about this if you want. Send it to us for the next episode. But I think when you're in this kind of position, it's not entirely possible that there could be some truth to both Falcons' statement and his at the same time. But like realistically speaking, the people overseeing what is happening and the person experiencing it, if they have a story, it's just by like head count. I depending on wording and how how language is used in different cultures and how et cetera, there's maybe some room for interpretation, but essentially everybody who was there and oversaw it seems like saw the threatening aspect of it. It's not like he actually hit him or anything, but it was the threat of it. So, but yeah, I wasn't personally there, so I can't give the exact recollection of what it was, but just, it's there from other people. Anyway, so this goes on. Falcons threaten to pull out of the tournament. They're livid. They feel like there's absolutely no space for anything of this sort, even if it's only verbal threats in a tournament. It's one thing if it's trash talk online. Quinn makes sure to chime in.
I forgot about that.
On Twitter, which he gets very mixed results from. Some people are like, you were the biggest shithead of all time in pubs. Why are you... But his angle was effectively... which I guess he is the person to ask then about it, because his angle was there's no space for this at in-person events, and there's a big difference between talking tons of shit online and then doing it in person. So he's like considering it two different worlds. Where some people have the angle that, well, if you're talking a lot of shit online consistently and you're just being a dick, it's going to come back to bite you at some point, which is the other angle people have. And yeah, Parker makes sure to, in the process, call Quinn a shithead as well, so they're having a nice little back and forth. That was the side event. Okay, that was just a little bonus. So this drama, it's like it dies down a little bit. The teams continue playing the Swiss, and then literally out of nowhere, nobody knew this was happening. Apparently, KuroKy resolved the conflict by having a conversation with Sonneiko and Ammar. And I don't know exactly how this went down, but in Sonneiko's statement, at some point he was talking about something to do with Islam, and he called I think he called Ammar his Muslim brother or something at some point in his statement, something to that effect. And I'm assuming that Kuro kind of found a way to mediate it through that.
Yeah,
through their shared religion.
I would assume the same.
I'm assuming that's how it went down. Which was, I don't know. It's like sometimes life just feels like a simulation, right? Like that being the resolution is just so fucking random and so funny. And I mean, it's great that they resolved it, right? That after that, there was absolutely nothing. There was no more drama. The tournament just played out, but holy shit, that was so fucking strange.
Yeah, that is.
We just saw the post. There's like nobody said that anything like to that. The way everybody found out was just the picture that was posted on Reddit.
God, I can't believe I forgot about. I forgot about everything today, Cinder.
So
My
funny.
goodness, wow,
This is why it's good that we live stream it, because then we can get.
Yeah.
I was going to say fact checked, but that's not really. We can get reminded of stuff we miss.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, okay, that's Wallachia. Now it's concluded, but yeah, I guess that this deserved some attention because it was a story and a half.
All right, well, rest of the episode not Dota related, but this story, this was all right. Do you remember the Amazon stores? I shouldn't say remember. Did you know this was a thing? Amazon has these.
I feel like you've talked about this before.
They have these stores. I don't know how many they have. It's only a few, I think, where they hype up like this the AI, or I don't know if it's AI, but technology that allows you to just walk in. It's like a little mini supermarket, pick up whatever you want and just leave, and it automatically deducts it from your pay, right? Like you don't have to do anything, like literally nothing. You go and pick something up and you leave. It almost feels like you're shoplifting, but
this is the ultimate goal of AI, is to limit human interactions as much as possible.
That's
so they can quietly take over the world. Good job.
Apparently, Amazon has been accused of lying about this. They have been accused of hiring thousands of Indians in India, of course, cheap labor for Amazon, I'm sure, to be manually viewing when people pick these things up and just manually, like, there's no automation whatsoever. It's just people from the other side of the world doing it for you. Like, what the fuck? I thought this was just so funny that we had to have a small discussion about it. What are your thoughts, Cinderin?
What are my thoughts? What take can you have on this? It's really fucking funny if it's true.
Did you know about these stores? Or is this the first time you heard about
it? For some reason, this sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know if it's because of you. And this story also sounds vaguely familiar, so I guess I have heard something to this effect before. But, I mean, I don't know. This is just really fucking funny to me. I don't actually know what I want more. If I want this, I think I want this to be true. That it's literally just people inputting inputting manually what people buy. Although that also is me hoping that Amazon was blatantly lying about a technology they had and just spreading misinformation. But it's just so funny if it's true.
What do you think about the technology? If it were, let's just say it were true. Not not this part. What if that was a real thing where you walk in, take whatever you want, just leave, and you don't like? Does that appeal to you at all? Do you care?
Not really, honestly. I mean, I get why. Okay, I'll put it this way. I think the target audience for this that I really support it for is extremely minimal. And that would be people that have anxiety of human interaction, but still want to go clothes shopping, for example. I think for very few people, this is a very meaningful thing because they really don't want to interact with others. For everybody who doesn't mind having an interaction, or at least doesn't absolutely hate it, it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's like, this is like, it looks cool and it's like trying to be the next thing or whatever. I just feel like it's so nothing, you know?
I think the biggest step for me as a consumer has been being able to put my credit card on my phone and just tapping it. Like that, for me, is enough. But I will say, like, because these stores, like I said, they're like very condensed. Like there's not that much. If I could go to the grocery store and just get like an entire fucking shopping cart, and maybe you guys don't have as big a shopping carts as we. Our shopping carts are large. Just a full shopping cart of groceries for like the full month, which is what we do. If I could do that and not have to go, like, just take it straight to my car, that's amazing. That would be incredible. So yes, I would
like
enjoy
an order
that.
of magnitude where if it's enough stuff. I was just looking at the picture and the type of store that I'm imagining this is, but if we're talking like, there's definitely something to be gained in the way of efficiency always, right? So if we're talking like shopping carts that take like 5 minutes to go through the cashier, then if many people do that, of course, I see the appeal and the efficiency part of it. You have this thing that we have in Denmark as well, right? With self-checkout in supermarkets. You have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some Circle K's
it's different,
here. So I don't know if
right?
everybody has... I know there were Circle K's in Sweden. Do you have it in Denmark as well? It's like a little... It's like a small convenience store. A lot of times in the US, it's attached to a gas station.
If we have it.
But they've been starting...
we might have a couple.
The first time I saw this was in Sweden. But now in Arizona, we're starting to get it where you can actually just place the items in like a certain area and it automatically scans what they are without you having to do anything. Obviously, it's a little limited in what it can do, and it's not like you have a shit ton of items, but it's kind of along the same lines of not having to, first of all, it's faster, it's more efficient, and well, I guess that's the whole deal. But yeah, it was really cool the first time I saw it. If you could scale that up into a full grocery shopping kind of deal, then I'd be into that for sure.
I mean, I will say the more we talk about it, the more I'm intrigued by the possibility of this, because I'm thinking to myself of the self-checkouts in supermarkets that we do use, especially if you're buying not very much or just as a way of making it easier for people, right? Because even if we go grocery shopping for like 3 or 4 or 5 days, we will generally use the self-checkout. But it's not because we don't want to go to the cashier. It's because there's a queue and this is faster and easier for us. But
okay,
if again, this technology could potentially just do that, like effectively remove cashiers, I guess.
They're taking our jobs. AI.
Yeah, so it's just
when
faster,
you go to the grocery store. You said if it's for 4 or 5 days, is that actually you go like more than once a week on average?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we do for sure.
And that's
at least one of us does.
That's very normal in Europe, I assume, right?
Yeah.
And is it in walking distance, the supermarket?
That's the thing, right? Because I think there's a cultural difference in like just the overall layout of cities and whatnot. I can walk to the nearest supermarket in 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah, that's nice.
And then if we go bigger shopping, we will drive for 5 minutes and then go shopping there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's very easy. I personally prefer to go shopping more frequently rather than less frequently and then buy a ton of stuff, because that way you get fresher goods, right? You can get fresh meats, you can get fresh fruit, etc. So I think there's just major advantages to going shopping more often. It's also less likely that stuff expires because it's easier to lay out.
Well, that's another difference though. Our stuff, I believe, is full of chemicals that make it last longer. I remember...
Right, but that comes at a cost, right?
I don't know.
It means it's not fresh to the same. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things you can. I mean, we can also buy stuff that lasts forever, but
not as long as ours, Cinderin. Okay, I had an apple that was out
at the same time.
I had an apple that was out. This was years ago. We got it from Walmart. We used to live close to a Walmart.
Okay,
and we left it in the open air for 6 weeks, and it was fine still. What the fuck do they put in this apple that it hasn't even started to brown yet? Like, what is the deal? Yeah, they put a shit ton of stuff in our food, no doubt about it. Yeah, we don't go as often as we should to the grocery because I find it to be a pain. We probably go once a month, but we like really load up. But we don't really buy that much fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't eat anything that needs to be fresh. And I do DoorDash a lot too, though. So
yeah, I mean, if you order in a lot and you eat stuff from the freezer a lot, if you're like just heating a meal or whatever, then obviously you can easily meal plan for weeks. But
if I were to get milk, it would be like almond milk, and it would just last a really long time anyway.
I see. Yeah, we buy.
Typically, we don't buy anything that would actually just expire within like even a month. Like, yeah, it's interesting though, the differences. Okay. Next thing on the list is
this Just Walk Out thing is growing on me a little bit.
Oh, is it now? Is it?
But only I want to say again, specifically only for the efficiency potential of it, right? Yeah. I don't know. I guess again, back to where I came from with it originally, it's a matter of, do I feel like this is where they should put their focus, I guess, with AI. But that's not really how it works, right? Because there's just
it's one of the million things that they're doing. Another thing that's AI related, Sindern, as we get into the next topic, is Orion, which is a thing from Meta, aka Facebook. It is the next Google Glasses, if you want to call it that. So Google Glasses failed miserably. I think people were called glass holes. I think that was the term. Essentially, augmented reality inside of some sort of iframe. These are prototypes, so this is not like this is coming out anytime soon. So I'm actually not sure why maybe this was for like it had to do with maybe the stock market, like their shares. I don't know.
Okay.
But this new prototype they've come out with, which I think the cost of, which is the main issue, is about $10,000. So once that gets down to like a normal amount, the things it can do, Cinderin. So first of all, you can play games. So on this little GIF, you're seeing them play nothing because it stops before they play it. This is eventually Pong. Good. There you go, going back and forth. And of course, it can do video conferencing, things of that nature. It can scan items, basically a lot of the stuff that phone can do. But the idea of, and this is why I want to talk about it, because there's this idea of like VR versus AR, and I've never thought that VR was going to be a thing. I could still be wrong, but I feel like we've gotten to the point now where it ain't happening. It's kind of like this flavor of the month kind of deal where it's cool in isolation, but it's never just going to be a mainstream thing. I just cannot believe it, because even if they get the hardware down to like even these like something that wraps around your head, which they kind of do with Meta, I think they have some stuff. You're still obstructing all your vision. You're replacing that basically with a computer instead of being in front of a computer, which is just more convenient, I feel like. This, though, augmented reality, I find much more intriguing because it doesn't obstruct your vision, right? You're just wearing these glasses. You can take them off anytime you want. You can walk around. You can see everything clearly. Just has overlays. And I think some applications that could be had is actually ironic. I'm going to bring this up because this is something that Meta does with their VR, but you could still do with AR, is they have this app on the piano. It's kind of like, I think we may have talked about this before, but it's kind of like a Guitar Hero where it basically sees that you're looking at a actual piano and the notes will come down telling you how to play it. Like stuff like that, I think in practice is fucking awesome. I also think that as a gamer, the coolest thing is having like board game nights without people at your house. Not that I hate having people at my house, but just the idea of being able to play with however many people, like on Tabletop Simulator or whatever. Actually, forget about Tabletop Simulator. You play with any of your friends across the world. You're looking at your coffee table, and then on the glasses, you're seeing the figurines that you're placing, right? Like it keeps track of everything. Just playing like a board game like that sounds fucking amazing. Like,
it's important though with the implementation that you still make it so that if one person slams their table, it slams all the other people's tables too. Or
no, that's VR. See, VR would have that issue.
It needs to be immersive enough.
I see. Yes, very important.
Okay, so you clearly know more about this than I do. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking. So augmented reality, like you said, I think the simple way you put it is like layering, right? You're just putting stuff on top. Doesn't that technology inherently have way more major limitations than VR does?
In what
it can potentially do? Because like if all you can do is put layers on top of what you already see and what you're already experiencing versus VR where you can genuinely create an entire world, right? Because it's kind of like, I think of VR as you're going to the cinema and what you see on the screen is just everything is just completely fictional, right? And VR can do the same thing, but where you are a part of the movie. And I think the way you're presenting it, AR is like you're part of reality, and then you're adding something on top that everybody knows isn't real, but they can interact with. And I mean, I think the technology is really promising and really interesting, but I'm just thinking at the deep level, if let's say both technologies go really far and get really advanced, I feel like what theoretically VR could do is make this incredibly immersive experience that you sign up for, and that obviously you can't just go and do out in the supermarket because, like you said, you can't see anything. But if you're at home, it could be the most insane way of experiencing like movies or games or, that kind of stuff.
So the way I look at it is, I mean, it's not like you're wrong, but VR is much more targeted in what it's trying to do, where you're isolating everything. In AR, it just feels like it's built for the casual, like for everyone. Use it at any time. It literally replaces your phone, if you think about it. If you want it to, this will completely replace your entire phone, because it is a phone on top of your eyes. So it depends on what, like, I understand what you're saying, like in terms of like the technical aspect of being able to just overtake your entire senses. Of course, that's what VR is supposed to do. But I think that AR has much more applications, I guess, more ways to implement in a way that is useful for an everyday person. So we'll see. I mean, people are going to keep working on both things, but I find this one very intriguing because we're getting closer. I do think this is going to become a thing. It reminds me of if anybody's a Black Mirror fan out there, the Black Mirror where they have, I think it's in the first season, they have something in their eyes that basically overlays on top, right?
I remember this, yeah.
And you're just like recording all the time. And that's obviously one of the big talking points is privacy. While you're wearing these glasses, you're just basically, you can record without people knowing. That's an entire separate thing.
Right. If you make these glasses, they should not be able to record. That's my...
Well, they will. 100% they will be able to record.
That should be illegal. I genuinely 100% believe that. And I will die on that hill, that there is no way you should be able to just wear glasses that record and other people don't know. That is not a thing. Well, at that point, you're actually just killing privacy, right?
100% these glasses will record, but will the people be able to, like, will they have a red light saying that you're recording, you know? Or will we get to a point where certain, like, let's say restaurants or movie theater or wherever, bathrooms, obviously, like, you're just not allowed to wear a device like that. You know what I mean? Like, it could just be rules of that nature.
I'm trying to imagine what extreme limitations you need to put on the use of that tech to... I mean, I suppose, you know, like, you can already do it if you're, like, secretly hiding a phone in your pocket and it's just slightly poking out with a camera and it's filming. Yeah, you can film people, but...
It's harder to execute.
It's not like it's impossible to do it already, but it's just, like, the ease of execution, the quality of what you're actually getting in the end, how much you can... Because when you're wearing these glasses, you will be able to tell exactly what you're filming at any point in time, and it will be very... If people around you can't tell that you're doing it, then the thought of this is really uncomfortable to me in a way. Not because I feel like, oh my god, I have so much to hide, or I really hate people.
Yeah, what are you hiding, Cinderin?
Or whatever. But it's like the idea that people can genuinely go around and film other people in uncomfortable situations they don't know, and then it can just end up online is... I don't know. This just it's not it, I think. So either you need really strong regulations or just don't allow glasses to film. I think it's the easy solution.
I don't know if that's possible to I just
can't
easily
implement that by law, right?
Easily? I don't think so.
Yeah?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
Think it would be... These are fucking major companies. Come on. No, but
yeah.
I don't think that's happening. So this is going to be like any other type of technology where there's some enormous negatives to it, but there's some really cool... I mean, the stuff that I'm a fan of is just cool, right? This is really cool, but obviously there's going to be a lot of talking points in the future when this becomes actually a thing, because right now it's not really a thing. $10,000 for a prototype, and it's still quite heavy, apparently, on your face. But we're not that far away. 5 to 10 years.
Do you feel like I'm overestimating the problem with recording with glasses like this versus what people can do with phones? Because if you're out and about right now and something dramatic happens, people start filming, right? Even if they really fucking shouldn't, but they do.
Yeah.
Am I like overestimating how big of a problem this is, because people are already doing it anyway, and even if you can tell that they're doing it, they still do it? So does it even matter then?
That's the only difference we're actually talking about, is if somebody's recording with their phone, what are they doing? They have their hand out. You can see them doing it. For something like this, unless there's like a light or something indicating, you don't know. That's the difference, right? But yeah, they can still record with a phone or without a phone. Either way. It's just things are becoming more mainstream, I guess is the right way to put it. Throughout the last... I mean, talk about the things you can do with a phone now. Imagine having that conversation 20 years ago. People would be like, there's no way I would allow this. Like, you could just bring a camera anywhere, like in your pocket. It's ridiculous. What about all these private... Like, over time, people are becoming more lax with the privacy stuff, but of course, there's going to be some threshold where that's just too much, and whether these are or not, I don't know. But
Right.
It is a very interesting technology, though. I'm fascinated by the idea of Black Mirror. I mean, the entire premise behind Black Mirror is really fucking cool technology and the major downsides that come with them.
Right.
Such a good show. If you guys haven't seen that shit, I'm sure most of you have. Check it out. Incredible. All right. Final topic. Blessing or curse, Cinderin. I'm using the same, fittingly, AI picture that I generated for this.
Which is especially great because it's blessing and curse.
That's right.
Let's I think we should keep the picture as a joke.
Of course, I'm not changing the picture.
Never replace it.
What can you sum this up for people who have no idea what this is?
So we started this about a month ago, but the last couple of episodes we didn't have spaced time or whatever for it. So this is a little bit. It's been a while since we did the first time of this, but essentially the way it works is. So for the first episode, we each gave each other 2 prompts, where there's a djinn or whatever that offers you a trade-off or a deal with the devil, if you will.
Yep.
Where you get 1 blessing and 1 curse at the same time, and now you need to rationalize and explain why you take the deal or why you don't take the deal. So to summarize from the last time, the deals that were on the table for you was deal number 1, whenever you travel, the weather is always exactly how you want it to during your entire stay. But your travel time is increased by 50% outside of your home state, and you did not take that deal whatsoever. You also wouldn't have taken it for 1%, which is a joke. And I do not.
It's not a joke. Who cares about the weather? I mean, I complain. Who cares? I'm indoors 95% of the time. Go ahead.
Number 2 that you were offered was that all your bowel issues go away, but in return, all sauces now are flavorless. You did also not take this deal.
No way.
And then you had 2 for me. The first one was win any TI of my choice and get the prize money, but I can never make money from video games again. I took that deal and chose the biggest TI. Obviously.
What do you mean, obviously? Some people wouldn't take that.
No, I mean,
some people have a passion.
If you take the deal, you're obviously taking the biggest one, is what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Then you're taking TI 10.
Correct.
And the other one was you become a multimillionaire. I'm seeing a theme with money here. Very, very creative person. Yeah. You become a multimillionaire, but you shit yourself twice every 24 hours at a random time. I did not take that deal.
That's a good deal. Just wear diapers. Problem solved.
Okay, you make a document with 1,000 prompts of this kind, and you ask which one did Shannon write, and this one is 100% you.
Yep, that's
all
good.
Right. So that's the state of things. I have taken 1 deal, and you have taken 0. So, and we're developing this like directory of what our roguelike selves become. All right. So I have the first one, and the idea here is that we're gonna, to whatever extent possible, if we think they're good enough, we'll take comments from YouTube. If we don't, we'll come up with some ourselves. But today I have 2 from comments on that previous video. So if you guys are listening or watching, make sure you give us some blessing and curse ideas for future episodes in this video. Okay, so the first one I have is from your good friend Mr. Niebling. This blessing is you can eat anything.
This is for you or me?
It's for you.
Oh shit! I picked blessing
for you.
Oh no!
And you're picking for me.
I picked for me. For some reason, I don't know why.
Well, that makes sense. Then it's just you're just choosing the ones you like.
Oh
you
God!
have to pick for me.
I'm not prepared.
Okay, well, see if you can find some in the comments, or if you have some on the back.
I don't have anything on the backboard. Hold on. Fuck's sake! Okay. Go ahead and ask it. Oh, that's the last episode. Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So the first one is from Mr. Niebling. Your blessing is you can eat anything, and it's always the most delicious thing ever. Your curse is you hiccup uncontrollably for an hour after every meal.
Okay, this one is hard because if they were normal hiccups, if I had normal hiccups, I'd take it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe not for sure. That's painful. My hiccups are violent. I'm not kidding. Have you heard me hiccup before? Like if I hiccup if I hiccup for 10 minutes, my belly is already sore. Like they are. I'll just give an example of what it sounds. This is not an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
That is what my hiccups sound like. I'm not kidding. It hurts.
Like a fucking seal on its last leg.
Yeah. It's not good. Every food I eat, it's one. So if I eat 2 meals a day, which what I'm eating, you're saying 2 hours out of the day, I'm hiccuping like that. I would not take that. That's really painful for me.
Okay.
If it was a normal hiccup, maybe.
Let's say you're having hiccups like, I mean, you can't really relate because you've never tried having hiccups like other people. Because it might be as uncomfortable for them as for you. You're just louder.
Yeah.
Hiccups are uncomfortable for me as well, even if I don't sound like a dying seal when I have mine.
Uncomfortable or painful? Mine are legit painful.
If I hiccup for an hour, it will get painful. I'm pretty sure about that. Probably not right from the beginning, but definitely uncomfortable at the very least.
All right, mine might be shit for you, Cinder, and I'm sorry.
Oh, you have 2 already?
No, I mean, I'm just taking the top comment. If they're shit, you can blame the YouTube audience because they're the ones. I don't know why I picked my own. It's so stupid. I really fucked up this episode. Okay, this one is... Well, let me read this one more. Okay. Oh, okay, this one's actually good. From Rubik Recaps.
Oh, I have one for you from him as well. Okay,
yeah, he had 2 good ones. So blessing is you rewind time back to 2010 with all of your current Dota knowledge to get another shot at becoming the best Dota player of all time and winning a TI. He believes in you. I don't. And the curse is you can never play another game but Dota. World of Warcraft. Ain't happening, Cinder, and if you take this...
I will not take that deal.
Wow.
And
why?
Despite all the... I mean, I'm pretty confident if I go back to 2010 with all the knowledge of Dota that I have right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably win TI1 and maybe TI2. But ultimately what's going to happen is obviously people catch up pretty fast. Because I'm assuming that the rest of the world happens organically around me knowing all this stuff. I'll be the best player in the world for maybe a year or 2, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of never getting to play any games is... I love games. So only being able to play one game for the rest of my life sounds really sad, because it's like my number one favorite thing to do, right? My number one passion. And when it says games, I'm assuming it means literally any game. So that includes board games. You could even argue it includes sports. And even if it's just video games, I think I would also not take the.
Okay, let me just to get an idea. I like pushing the envelope. Let's say it's the same curse, okay? But you just automatically win TI 10. That's the big one, right? Is that enough for you?
No, I still don't take the deal.
Yeah, same.
Actually. You would also not take it, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck would I do with my life? Like, it's like everything I do.
I'd have to be a fucking normie? What? No, man.
No way.
That's not me. All right. Okay, it was a good prompt though.
Yep.
I like that one. All right, so I have the other one from Rubik Recaps, which is clearly for you. So the blessing is Relic Arena becomes the most successful auto battler of all time. What's the currently most successful one you would say? Is it
of
TFT?
All time? TFT, yeah.
Yeah. So it overtakes TFT in success, but the curse is you can never watch the Suns ever again.
So I read this weeks ago when we did the podcast, and I went back and forth. But I don't know. What do you think I would go with?
Oh, that's good. That's good. If you go back and forth, it's a really good prompt.
I went back and forth.
I think you take it, actually.
Okay. So, yeah, Relic Arena right now is like the one thing that is above everything else for me in terms of like passion. I was going back and forth, and I was thinking, the Suns, like there were some games that I didn't watch last year, which is very unusual. Usually I watch 100% of the games every year. I'm lagging for you?
Hello?
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 Oh, I dropped some frames actually, but the
your
video will be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to so I was thinking, if I didn't watch any Suns games anymore, would that really be that bad? but there's a lot of history with like my dad getting me involved with it. Like it is very important to me. But then I was thinking, so that one's like, oh man, because Relic Arena is so important to me now. But I would not take the deal because it means that I didn't find that success properly. Like I didn't actually prove myself. Like it being the number one game of that genre, like I'm taking a deal that kind of shortcuts me to that. It's not going to feel.
So you didn't earn it.
Yeah, it's not going to feel. Fuck. God, I'm actually missing so much vocabulary today. I've lost a lot of brain cells this last week. It feels like. It's not going to feel satisfying at all because I didn't earn it at all. So that's the reason I wouldn't take it. But I was debating it back and forth.
With your thing of squeezing these a little bit, let's say it's the same prompt, but you don't know that you didn't earn it. You will always feel like it was because of your own accomplishments.
But I know now, like agreeing to it, that's the issue. It's not about not knowing later. Because I, like, you know me, I can be a fucking dick. But
that's true.
I think the one thing that you and I think the one thing that you and I will agree on for the most part is that I'm a very principled person and I will stick to my guns if I think it's the proper thing. And that is how I feel with this. I feel like I would not agree to it because I know it's cheating, basically.
Okay.
That was a very good prompt. I had to think about it.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, yours is going to be shit because I had to find in the last 2 minutes.
Okay.
So this one is from The Ways of Math 1099 with one upvote.
Lagging again for me.
Fuck's sake, Cinderin. Can you stop making me lag?
Hello? Okay, it's gone.
From The Ways of Math 1099, blessing is you will be able to heal from any and all afflictions and injuries. Curse, the pain that you feel is intensified by 50%, and pain relievers and anesthetics have no effect.
Okay. Oh my God, no. I'm not taking that.
Yeah, I figured.
I just realized if I get really seriously hurt, holy fuck. Imagine how painful it would be to need some sort of surgery. You can't get anesthetics, and it's 50% more painful.
Why would you need surgery, though, if you heal from all afflictions and injuries?
Well, then I guess the prompt is a little bit weird, right? Because how fast do I heal?
It's unclear. Because the way that I looked at this is technically aging, you could look at as an affliction, right?
So it makes me immortal.
Theoretically, yes.
I don't know if I would want to be immortal.
Yeah, this one's a little weird because
it's a little philosophical because I feel like being immortal will make everything feel meaningless.
Eventually, yes. But then you're immortal. You're a god.
Yeah, but is being immortal even desirable, right? Because it's like, if what gives you purpose and what gives you meaning is that things are finite, then when they're infinite, will anything feel meaningful at all?
Okay, how about this?
Then you're just there.
All right, let's forget about blessing and curse, and we'll end with this, because I want to answer this as well. Forget about having a curse, because it is a curse in its own right.
Okay.
If you were offered immortality, no strings attached, would you take it?
Can I give it up?
Can you give it up?
Try it? Can I try it and then decide I don't want it?
Yeah, you kill yourself.
But you can't do that if you're immortal.
But you're killing yourself, so it's different somehow. I don't know. Let's just say that's part of it, because I would agree.
Being immortal is pretty binary. Either you die or you don't, okay? You can't be immortal and then just be like, eh.
There's one exception, of course, to the immortality.
Okay. I mean, if I can choose to not be immortal at any point, then of course. Then it's like you're just getting a free try, right?
Yeah, I guess that defeats the entire purpose.
Right.
See, I would be afraid.
If you put me on the spot and said you will have to live forever and you can never, your life will never end, I don't know if I would take it.
No, so that's the only thing that like trips me up about it is, does that mean I'll be here when the Earth is no more and I'm just floating in space or some shit? Like, and I'm still awake? That sounds miserable, right?
So here's my point. Okay, this is actually getting really interesting. My point about this is your version of I'm floating in space and there's nothing happening. I think that might be what it feels like living on Earth the moment you become immortal.
Not the moment. Come on.
You know what I mean.
You'd be doing so many drugs. Just try everything you've never tried before. Nothing's going to happen.
You won me over. Yeah, you got me. All right. And I can heal from all afflictions.
That's right.
All right, so let's get back on this. Okay, let's say immortality is not in the cards. Okay, you live a normal duration life, but every time you get sick and every time you get injured, you can heal yourself, so you never need surgery, and it's never truly dangerous when you get hurt because you can overcome any pain. But it's intensified by 50%, and anesthetics have no effect, and nor do pain relievers. I think I don't take the deal still. Actually,
I take
because
that one.
The thought of how extreme that pain would be if something bad happened to me, and how absolutely agonizing even the thought of that, if it's a really serious injury, versus if I have an injury and it's really serious, but then I can get surgery instead or get medication or whatever to help it.
Just don't get seriously injured then. It's fine.
Yeah, but then you don't need it anyway.
Like, what's the worst pain I've ever had? Nothing even comes to mind. Maybe my appendix. It wasn't that bad. 50% of that's not even 2 times.
To have a health insurance because I never get sick, but then when you fucking do,
yeah, you're going to be miserable, but then you'll heal. You'll be fine.
It doesn't say you heal faster. So let's imagine you get like a really bad condition that hurts like hell, and it lasts for a year, and you can't dull the pain in any way.
A year.
Yeah, you can have let's say you have a serious back pain and it takes a long time to go away. Like you have a very serious back injury. It's 50% stronger and you can't relieve the pain in any way. You're literally just
this one's too weird. Pain. This one's too weird because it just depends on how fast you heal.
I'm not taking the deal.
Okay.
Not taking it. Okay, so far, wait, sorry, I didn't note this one down. You can never watch you did not take the deal with the Suns game, right?
No.
Okay, so you've taken 0 deals and I've taken 1 so far.
Yeah,
I mean that's fine as long as they're like.
Can you guys come up with a balanced blessing curse for me that you think I would take? The Suns one was really good, but I didn't.
Both of the ones today you had to think about.
Wait, what was the first one again?
The one with the hiccups. It was like conditional.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
it was not bad.
That's fair. Yeah, come up with some more, guys. Put them in the comments. Okay, well, that does it for this episode of We Say Things. We got to an hour 22 with barely any. I mean, we had one tournament to talk about. Woo! So
that was a lot to talk about with that tournament, though.
True. All right, until next week, Suns fans sooner and signing out. Have a good week, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy Crownfall, which will probably come out a few hours after this podcast. Yep. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We say things that don't mean anything.
Merch.sunsfan.gg
Yeah.